Have you been told that feeling drained, losing performance, and slowing down after 60 is just normal aging? What if the real problem isn't your age at all, but what you're feeding your body each day? Many men over 60 struggle with low energy, weaker performance, poor sleep, and falling testosterone, without realizing simple foods can quietly fix or worsen it. Today, I'll show you 3 everyday fruits that can restore vitality from the inside out. I'm Dr. Barbara O'Neill, a urologist with 40 years of experience. Tell me where you're watching from and gently tap like and subscribe. If you're a man over 60 and you've noticed your energy slipping, your drive fading, or your body not responding the way it once did, I want you to hear this clearly. It is not simply because you're getting older. That belief has been repeated so often that it feels like truth, but biologically, it's incomplete. What I see again and again in my patients is not old age, but a quiet breakdown in 3 core systems: hormones, circulation, and inflammation control. When those slip out of balance, energy drops, performance weakens, sleep suffers, and confidence follows. Let's start with hormones, especially testosterone. Testosterone doesn't just affect sex drive. It influences muscle strength, motivation, mental sharpness, and even how efficiently your body produces energy. After 50, and especially after 60, testosterone can decline. But the bigger issue is that stress, poor sleep, and nutrient depletion accelerate that decline. Many men are surprised to learn their levels aren't low because of age alone, but because their body no longer has the raw materials or environment to support healthy production. Next is circulation. Every cell in your body depends on oxygen and nutrients delivered through blood flow. As men age, blood vessels can stiffen due to inflammation, oxidative stress, and excess sugar intake. When circulation weakens, muscles fatigue faster, the brain feels foggy, and performance, physical and sexual, takes a hit. You may feel tired even after a full night's sleep, not because you didn't rest, but because your cells didn't get fed. Inflammation is the third silent thief. Chronic low-grade inflammation acts like rust inside the body. It interferes with hormone signaling, damages blood vessels, and disrupts mitochondrial function, the tiny engines inside your cells that create energy. Many men over 60 live in a constant inflammatory state without realizing it, driven by processed foods, poor gut health, and daily habits that seem harmless. One of the most damaging habits I see is skipping real nourishment early in the day and relying on coffee or refined carbs to push through fatigue. That pattern spikes cortisol, worsens insulin resistance, and further drains testosterone and energy. If there's one practical step to start with today, it's this: begin your day with hydration and whole foods that support blood sugar stability instead of shocking your system. Once you understand that energy loss is a systems problem, not a character flaw or aging sentence, everything changes. And that's why food matters so much. Certain fruits don't just provide vitamins, they actively support circulation, hormone balance, and inflammation control. One fruit in particular has a powerful effect on blood flow and performance, and most men have no idea they're missing it. If you're a man over 60 and you've noticed that your energy doesn't last like it used to, or that performance, stamina, and recovery take longer, it may have more to do with your blood vessels than your age. Circulation is one of the most overlooked keys to lasting vitality, yet it silently declines over time, especially when we don't move as much, eat processed foods, or deal with chronic inflammation. What happens is simple. The blood vessels that once carried oxygen and nutrients smoothly begin to stiffen. They lose flexibility. Blood doesn't flow as freely, and that means your muscles, your brain, and even your most private systems aren't getting what they need to perform. The result? Fatigue sets in faster. Workouts feel harder. Mental sharpness dips. You may even notice changes in sexual performance or endurance that you chalk up to getting older. But here's the truth. It's not just aging, it's poor blood flow. And there's a way to support your circulation naturally, starting with a fruit that's been studied for its nitric oxide boosting effects and its ability to relax and open blood vessels. That fruit is the humble beetroot, or more specifically, beetroot in its whole, raw, or juiced form. Beets are rich in dietary nitrates, which your body converts into nitric oxide, a compound that helps blood vessels dilate and improves circulation. In men over 60, where nitric oxide production naturally declines, this can be a game changer. Several studies have shown that beetroot juice can enhance stamina, improve oxygen efficiency, and even support healthier blood pressure without the side effects of medications. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Aren't beets high in sugar? The answer is no, not when eaten whole or lightly juiced at home. One small beet contains about 9 grams of carbs and a healthy dose of fiber, which helps slow the absorption of sugar. The trick is to pair it with a protein or fat, like adding sliced beets to a salad with olive oil or having a small glass of beet juice with a handful of almonds. That combination helps stabilize blood sugar while still delivering the vascular benefits. I recommend starting with half a raw beet a day or a few ounces of beet juice in the morning. If you're on blood pressure medication, check with your doctor first, as it can enhance the effect. But most men find it gives a noticeable difference in stamina and mental clarity within days. And here's where it gets exciting, because while circulation is key, there's another deeper layer. One overlooked fruit doesn't just support how your blood flows, it actually helps balance your testosterone from the inside out. Most men believe testosterone drops because of age, and while it's true that levels begin to decline around 1% per year after 30, what most don't realize is that stress, poor sleep, blood sugar swings, and even inflammation play a far bigger role than your birth year. In fact, I've seen men in their late 60s with better hormone balance than men in their 40s, all because they supported their body's natural rhythm and gave it the right fuel. That's where this often ignored fruit comes in. Let's first look at how testosterone production actually works. Your brain, specifically the hypothalamus and pituitary, sends signals to your testes to produce testosterone. That process is sensitive. It relies on consistent sleep, low inflammation, and stable blood sugar. When you're chronically stressed or eating irregularly, those signals weaken. Your cortisol levels rise, stealing resources from testosterone production. Add poor sleep or insulin spikes, and your body essentially deprioritizes testosterone to protect itself. Now here's the good news. Certain foods can support these signals, and one fruit does it beautifully: pomegranate. Yes, that jewel-like fruit you probably see around the holidays. Pomegranate has been shown in multiple studies to reduce cortisol, improve blood pressure, and even raise salivary testosterone levels in men. It's rich in antioxidants, especially polyphenols, that protect Leydig cells, the very cells responsible for testosterone synthesis. But it's not just about drinking pomegranate juice and expecting miracles. Timing and pairing matter. If you drink pure pomegranate juice on an empty stomach, especially in the morning, it may spike your blood sugar. That cancels the benefit. But when paired with a protein-rich breakfast, like eggs or Greek yogurt, it slows absorption, balances insulin, and helps your body actually use the nutrients to support hormone production. I recommend about 4 ounces of unsweetened pomegranate juice or a half cup of seeds, ideally in the morning or early afternoon. Many of my patients add it to a smoothie with greens and protein powder, or simply sprinkle the seeds into oatmeal or a salad. Within a few weeks, they notice sharper focus, improved recovery after workouts, and better drive, not just sexually, but mentally and physically. Pomegranate works best when your body is calm and supported. That's why stress management and good sleep are non-negotiables. Remember, your testosterone isn't broken, it's just suppressed by modern habits. When you create the right internal environment, your body knows what to do. Now, what if you could take this even further? What if there was a fruit that not only helped hormones and circulation, but actually restored energy at the deepest cellular level? Because that's exactly what the next one does. You can sleep 8 hours, eat well, even exercise, and still wake up feeling like you're running on empty. I hear this from men over 60 all the time. I'm doing everything right, but I still feel flat. The reason usually comes down to one word most doctors don't talk about enough: mitochondria. These tiny structures live inside nearly every cell in your body, and they're responsible for converting food and oxygen into pure, usable energy. Think of them as your internal battery chargers. But as you age, especially past 60, your mitochondria take a hit. They become damaged by oxidative stress, inflammation, and years of metabolic strain. When that happens, energy production slows, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally too. This is why some men lose their edge even though their blood work looks fine. It's not just about testosterone or blood flow. It's about how your cells actually produce energy at the microscopic level. That's where the third fruit comes in. It's one of the most powerful mitochondrial protectors nature has given us: blueberries. Yes, the common blueberry. But don't let its simplicity fool you. Blueberries are packed with anthocyanins, a class of antioxidants that specifically shield mitochondria from oxidative damage. Studies have shown that regular blueberry consumption can improve memory, reduce muscle fatigue, and even enhance endurance. For men over 60, that means sharper cognition, better workouts, and more consistent energy throughout the day, not those spikes and crashes you might be used to. Here's how it works. Anthocyanins help reduce mitochondrial inflammation and improve the way your cells handle glucose and oxygen. That translates into more efficient energy production, which supports everything from heart health to mental clarity to libido. Even more interesting, blueberries may help increase the expression of genes involved in mitochondrial biogenesis. That's the creation of new mitochondria. That's like giving your body new batteries. To get the benefit, you don't need much. About half to 1 cup of fresh or frozen blueberries per day is enough. I recommend having them with breakfast or after light exercise when your cells are primed to absorb nutrients. The key is consistency. This isn't a one-time fix fruit. And if you're concerned about sugar, pair blueberries with a fat or protein source like walnuts or Greek yogurt to blunt the glucose impact. But here's something important. While blueberries can recharge your energy from the inside out, there's one common mistake men make that silently cancels all these benefits. It has to do with how fruits are consumed and what they're paired with. Most men are unknowingly spiking their insulin and reversing the very gains these fruits offer. Let's talk about how to avoid that next. If you've made it this far, you now know about 3 powerful fruits that can help men over 60 restore energy, improve performance, and support testosterone naturally. But here's something just as important, maybe even more so. If you eat these fruits the wrong way, you could actually block their benefits and end up feeling more tired, not less. That's not because the fruit is bad, it's because of how it interacts with your insulin and blood sugar. Most men don't realize this, but one of the biggest energy killers after 60 is unstable blood sugar. When you eat fruit by itself, especially in juice or smoothie form, it can spike your glucose rapidly. That spike gives you a short burst of energy, sure, but what comes next is the crash. And during that crash, cortisol rises, testosterone dips, and you're left feeling foggy, sluggish, and craving more sugar. Over time, those constant spikes wear down your insulin sensitivity, which means your cells stop responding properly to insulin. This not only leads to weight gain and fatigue, but also blocks hormone production, slows circulation, and increases inflammation. That's why I always tell my patients, fruit is not the problem, naked fruit is. Meaning fruit eaten alone without fiber, fat, or protein to slow it down. The solution is simple but powerful. Always pair your fruit with something that balances the insulin response. A small handful of almonds, a boiled egg, a few spoonfuls of Greek yogurt. These slow the digestion of natural sugars and turn fruit into a healing food, not a hidden stressor. Portion size also matters. A whole bowl of fruit may seem healthy, but for a man over 60, that could be too much sugar at once. Stick to about half to 1 cup of fruit at a time and space it away from other high-carb meals. If you're going to enjoy fruit in the morning, do it after a protein-rich breakfast. If you like fruit in the evening, avoid combining it with dessert or alcohol. And one last tip, avoid packaged fruit juices or smoothies labeled as natural. These are often stripped of fiber and concentrated with sugar, which creates the very insulin spike you want to avoid. If you're drinking beet or pomegranate juice for their benefits, keep it to 3 to 4 ounces and pair it with food. When you understand how to time, portion, and pair fruit correctly, it becomes a tool for vitality, not a trap. You don't have to give up sweet foods or follow extreme diets. You just have to work with your body, not against it. Because now you have the knowledge and the power to move into your 60s, 70s and beyond with strength, clarity and lasting energy. Feeling energized, confident and capable in your 60s isn't a fantasy, it's your biology, waiting to work with you instead of against you. When you support your hormones, your circulation and your mitochondria with simple, smart choices, like the right fruits at the right time, you shift your entire health trajectory. You don't need a radical overhaul. You just need small, consistent steps. Today, that might mean choosing beets instead of bread or pairing blueberries with protein. These changes add up and they protect your sleep, your strength, your drive, and your sense of self. So tell me, how old are you and what's your #1 goal right now? Drop it in the comments. You're not alone. There's a whole community of men choosing vitality over decline. Like, subscribe and stay with us, because your best years aren't behind you. They're built by what you do next, and that starts today.